Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create almost anything with Google Firebase Studio, which is completely free right now, and then n8n AI agents. So Firebase Studio lets you create apps using AI. All you need to do is to give it a prompt in English and it creates the entire app for you. You don't actually need to write any single code. It takes care of everything. And then inside n8n, which is a workflow automation platform, it has access to cool things like AI agents. And then we can combine these together, and finally we can have an application which also take actions. So today we are going to build an application which is super simple basically. So users come to our application and give it an input, and then we will generate some output for them and we will send it back to them. So these are the steps that we are covering in this video. So I'm going to name my application Excuse Generator 1000. First thing we do is actually we are going to create an application inside Firebase, and we're gonna let the users to submit an input there. Then we're gonna get that input and send it to our automation workflow inside n8n, and we're gonna use AI to analyze the input and generate some responses to it. And from n8n we're gonna send back our output and we're gonna show it to our user inside our application with Firebase. So here I'm inside Firebase Studio, and basically I'm telling Firebase to build an application that helps users to generate excuses. Call the application help me out of this. So this is the name of my application, and it needs an input text box and a button called get help. So basically here I'm describing my application and I'm telling Firebase that what it should look like. So I'm telling that to build an application for me and give it a name, and this application should have a text box so my users can write in the text box, and below the text box it should have a button. So once the user is done writing the input, so you can click on the button. And I'm telling that to also create the name for that button and put it as get help. So inside n8n we're gonna actually create a new workflow, and what we have to do as a first step for our n8n, we actually need to add a step here that basically we are waiting for some data to arrive. Basically we are sending data from Firebase to our workflow here. So what we're gonna do is to click here, and here we're gonna write webhook, and you see that here we have a webhook if you click. So actually webhook is a custom address on the internet for us that we want to send our information to that address. Here we have a specific URL for our webhook. Just imagine that you have an address to your home or to your office and you are sending your packages to that address. This is basically the same one. We are sending some data from somewhere else to this address, which is our webhook. And here we have a test URL and production URL, but right now we are testing our application, so we're going to use our test URL. And once our application is done and we can publish our application and start using it, we can change the production URL. So what we're going to do now is to actually change the method to post, and we need to copy this URL and give it to our Firebase prompt and tell that when you are building an application, make sure that we are sending those data to this address. Alright, so now I'm in Firebase again, and basically I added another sentence saying that when the button is pressed, send the input text payload via post request to this address. So once our user click on the button get help, we will send all the data inside the text box and we will send it to this address, which is our webhook inside our n8n. So now we are good to go. We can actually click here and prototype our application, and Firebase start to build an application for us. So as you can see, Firebase is giving me a plan for this prototype application and kind of created a blueprint for it. It has all these steps. I can check it, and from here we can also customize the animation and the fonts we want to use inside our application, and even the color, but I don't want to make it complicated. We can leave it as it is. I just wanted to show you how we can easily and quickly build the applications for us. So if I want to change anything, I can again write in English here and make some changes, but this is okay. So let's create the application. So now it has started to create my application, and you see that it is taking care of all the generating the codes and writing the codes. And here you see that it is creating all the necessary files for my application, and on this side you can see that it is generating all the codes. Alright, now it is done, and it took like under 10 seconds to generate this web application for me, and now it is done. You see that Right here on the on the left side, I have my application, and exactly I name it as help me out of this with this emoji. It is kind of smart and put the title or headline for it, says need an excuse, and just give it a subtitle telling that describe your situation and we will help you out. So you can see that I didn't mention anything about this, but it is smart to understand that what we are going to build and did it by itself. So we have the text box. Our user can come here and write whatever they want, and they can click this button and we will send the data to our n8n workflow. All right, so we can right now test our application and see if we can receive data back in our n8n automation. So let's go back here and we need to test it. So if I click on test and if I go back to my application, let's just say hello, and if you click get help, basically here it says error because right now we are not doing anything. But if you go back to our automation, you see that we have received some data. So if we open it from here, and here you will see that we have received some data from our web application. So this is all the data that we have received there, and if you scroll down, you will see that the message that we sent hello is actually here. We could receive that. This is the most important thing that we need actually from this webhook. So now that we have received our data from our application, the next thing that we need to do is to give it a functionality to our web application, and I'm just gonna click here and write AI agent and click here, and from here we need to actually change this the source of the prompt. We need to change it to define below, and here we need to actually search our webhook and drag the message that we received from our web application and put it here. We also need to define an instruction for our AI agent. So come here down under the options, click option and system message. So I'm gonna change this system message to an expression, and I'm gonna open it from here. Basically by default it says that you are a helpful assistant. We don't need this. What we need is actually to give it a system prompt for this agent that once it receives the data, it needs to come here and look for the instructions and generate an output based on this information. So right now I'm on ChatGPT, and this is a custom GPT. You can find this system prompt generator if you go to explore GPTs and write this. This is by Tyler Thompson. So here I'm telling that you are an expert prompt creator. Create me a prompt for an AI agent that generates a silly excuse to a user's input. Output the prompt in the markdown format. So let's see what we will get. As you can see, this custom GPT is creating a system prompt for our AI agent, and also it is giving some example, and that's it, we are done. So, and if you don't know what is markdown format, basically this is how markdown format is. It kind of format the text in some headlines and some explanation. So from here we're going to copy this and we will go back to our AI agent and we will paste this prompt here. And pretty much that's it. So once we have the data to our received to our AI agent, now our AI agent knows exactly what to do. And now we have set up our AI agent. The next thing to do is actually give it our AI agent a brain by connecting it to a chat model. So click here, and from here I'm going to use OpenAI as my chat model, and I already connected my OpenAI account. If you don't have, just go to platform.openai.com and create an account for yourself and get all those API keys and come here and create the new credentials. If you have any problem, you can also click here on the documentation and it will walk you through. So right now I'm connected my account, and for my model I'm gonna use Foromini, but if you want to use another one, you can come here and choose whatever you want. So it is good. Let's go back. So we can save it from here. Now let's go back to our web application and see if we can generate one excuse for us. So I'm gonna delete hello and I'll say that excuse for me being late at work. So now I'm a user, I need an excuse for myself being late at work. So here I'm gonna click test workflow. So my webhook is listening for data to arrive. Let's go back, hit the get help. Nothing happens here, but here you see that we have received the data, and our AI agent processed our message, which is excuse for me being late at work, and here it has a system message and knows what to do. And based on all this information and our message, our AI agent created or generated an output for us. And basically it says that I'm sorry for being late, I was caught in a fierce debate with my houseplant. Basically, yeah, this is very silly excuse, and that this is exactly how I want it to be. So now the final step for us is actually to display that output here for our user. So in n8n, we actually need to add the final step here, which is actually answering to this webhook. So if you click here and also again type here webhook, so this time we are not going to click on this, we are going to click this one, response to webhook. So what is happening right now is that we have a webhook that we receive data, and then once we receive the data, we will pass it to our AI agent here, and our AI agent generates a response for that or answer, and then we're gonna grab that data or generated response and send it back to our web application by responding to a webhook. So if we go to our webhook from the beginning, you will see that the response here is immediately. So this means that once we receiving the data, we immediately answer to that webhook. But here we're gonna change it and choose this one, which says using respond to webhook node. So here we need to go to our webhook. So we need to change our configuration. Here, the response, we need to choose from immediately, which says that as soon as you get data, just answer to that data immediately. We don't want to do that. We want to use the respond to webhook node. So we're going to click here. So now what we've done is actually connected this webhook to this one. So the next thing we do is actually go to our respond to webhook, and here you see that it says respond with. Basically, this lets us to decide how we can send back the data. So from here we have to change it to JSON, and here we need to configure it a little bit. So here I'm gonna change my field to excuse. So I'm just gonna copy this so I can give it to Firebase and telling that this is the format that you are receiving data. And we actually need to change this value. So I'm gonna delete this, and from here we need to put the output that AI agent gives us, or this is exactly the excuse that we want to show to our user. So I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna drop it between this quotation. Well, actually didn't work, so let me just try again. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that, and you need to exactly put it between this quotation. Yeah, this is the result, and this is how it exactly looks. And basically we are sending this data back to our application. So right now we need to go back to our excuse generator app in Firebase, and I'm telling Firebase that the API response from the webhook will be formatted like this, and please display the excuse back to our user. So I'm gonna send this prompt, and the Firebase will actually write this code and implement it to my web application. Right now it is done. Let's try it again. Let's go back to our workflow. Let's save it and click test. So we are ready for data to arrive. I'm just gonna type not going to the gym. So let's see what we will get. Yeah, you see that we are getting our message back. So it says that I had every intention of hitting the gym, but then a family of over-enthusiastic squirrel mistook me for their yoga instructor. Yeah, this is very silly and funny, and you see that our response is showing here. So if you go back to our workflow, you see that everything here has been perfectly working. So if we open our response, you see that this is our response, which is exactly the same here that we got. So now what I'm gonna do is actually I want to add another prompt here and tell the Firebase. So while I'm waiting for the data to come back to my application, I want to get some animation here which says loading. So I'm just gonna say, please include a loading indicator while we wait for the response to process. So let's see what we get. So now again, Firebase will edit all the codes that it needs to be done. We don't need to do anything, it will do everything for us. And now it is done, so let's check it again. If we go back here, click test, come back here. So now if I click on get help, we should see that there is an indicator saying that generating or loading or something. And yeah, that's it. We have built an application that is fully functioning, working, and we have basically a workflow that is also working, nothing, no problem inside this workflow. we are receiving data, we can successfully send back data to our web application. And what we can do actually here is that we can go live with this workflow. From here I can make it active. And remember, we have to come here to our webhook, and we need to change this test URL to production URL, because right now we want to publish our application and go live. So what we can do here, we need to copy this address again from here, and all we need to do is actually prompt Firebase and tell him that, hey, change the webhook to this new address. Alright guys, that's it. This is actually how you can create applications with Firebase easily and quickly. Go to Firebase and give it a prompt asking for changing the styles, font, making some animations, and all those UI stuff you can do without writing the code. And with n8n you can do all of those complicated and functionality for the back end of your web application. So if you have already experience with n8n and you know how to work with n8n and make some more complicated workflows, you can definitely connect these two applications together and build some powerful apps. Once again, thank you so much that you have made it so far watching this video. If you found value, I appreciate if you like it and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more videos in the future. And if you have questions, just leave it down in the comment section. I'll be reading them and answering them as soon as possible. See you in the next video.